Hello, everybody, and a warm welcome. This session is about how SAP Cloud ALM supports the implementation and operations of SAP Business Technology Platform. My name is Evan Stoddard. I'm one of the product managers for SAP in the area of application lifecycle management. So I cover SAP Cloud ALM, SAP Solution Manager, SAP Focused Run, and other associated services. So really what we wanted to do today is just give you a nice overview of how we're supporting Business Technology Platform with Cloud ALM. We've been doing this for a while with other solutions such as SuccessFactors and Ariba and S4Cloud and so on. It's a little bit different for a Business Technology Platform because really it's not its own standalone product. It's actually a whole bundle of services and other products put together. So I'm just going to talk about that during the introduction. And as usual, we have the normal disclaimer. I'll probably be making some forward-looking statements during the presentation. Of course, it's software and things are always subject to change. The final product may differ from what's shown, of course, and none of the content looking forward should be used for making purchasing decisions. So just a quick overview of the agenda. We always get the question, what is SAP BTP in the first place? So we'll cover that for just a few minutes. Talk about how we're supporting BTP from the implementation side and the operations side. A little bit on the product roadmap for SAP Cloud ALM and how do you find out what's planned from our innovations. So again, I mean, it's one thing when we talk about Cloud ALM supporting various solutions. Again, we can say for SuccessFactors, we have roadmaps with Activate methodology and task lists and best practice content. But for BTP, again, since it's really not one standalone product, it's actually a lot of different services put together. We always get the question, what is this? How do we find out about it? And so what we're going to do is just do a very simple overview about what BTP is. And really, this is the foundation of the intelligent, sustainable enterprise, really where we have all of the application development, automation, integration, and data analytics and AI together. So really, it's a portfolio of products and services that just under one umbrella. Again, it's not a standalone product, so it's not really on a price list. So really, it's a collection of on-premise and cloud products and solutions grouped together under these 5 pillars at the bottom. And really this is to provide best flexibility for creating solutions that are more independent, bringing things better together, and solving technical and business problems using the flexibility of the cloud. So really, again, there's always services coming in and out. Things are going in and some being sunset, of course. I'll talk about that in a minute. But really, this is what the intelligent enterprise is going to be running on as the technology platform. That includes lots of different components. So here's just a view of all the cloud services. Again, things like Business Application Studio, development environments, process automation, integration services, analytics, and AI. And everything is really brought together in the Discovery Center. So again, things change quite a bit. There's a lot of products and solutions bundled under technology platform. We do get the question, what happened to the cloud platform? And really, the cloud platform didn't cover everything. It only covered a few of these components. So BTP is actually bigger than the cloud platform, and it brings in together all of the components of cloud platform and then adds additional ones. And really, this was a new umbrella term. So we're sunsetting the whole brand term of the cloud platform for Business Technology Platform. So for example, if I go to the Discovery Center, and again, this is where we have all of our services and missions. So the services just gives you a list of all the things that are available and which ones are free and which ones are subscription. And then the missions tell you how to set them up and how to access them. So right now there's 95 services, and you get little bulletins on them if they're new, if they're featured. You can also see if they're free tier. So ones that we'll be covering today really are things like, let's see here, Cloud Integration Automation Service. That's something that's very important for doing implementation projects, and we can bring that into Cloud ALM. Transport Management with the cloud. We can also integrate with that with Cloud ALM. Things like, let's see, yeah, so you can see document, we have document management in here, identity provisioning, integration suite, of course, job scheduling. So pretty much this tells you what can be subscribed to. And this, we're going to be bringing these into the projects and monitoring them in Cloud ALM. So let's start from the implementation side. So I'm not going to go through the entire implementation capabilities of SAP Cloud ALM. There's other recorded sessions from the ALM Summit EMEA that you can go to that just cover that in detail. But I just wanted to just give a quick recap. So again, the idea here is we want to provide application lifecycle management as a service to our cloud-centric customers who didn't have a solution in the past. It didn't make sense for them to have a solution manager system in these cases. So we want to provide all of those key implementation and operations and service delivery capabilities in a really easy to consume, easy to use format, with an application that you can provision very rapidly in just hours at the most, and start using very quickly. And also we provide in Cloud ALM all the implementation content to help you accelerate your projects, especially things like best practice content, task and methodology roadmaps. And so you have access to everything in one place. It's your one-stop shop to do the implementation projects and your fit to standard workshops. So again, we're covering the whole design, the build, and the test and deploy capability. So, and providing it out of the box, of course. So this is really a very simple user interface. We try to make it something that doesn't require a huge amount of training to use. We have on-screen training, of course. But again, this is where we make it so you can stand up your solutions very rapidly from a very easy to use, harmonized experience. And the nice thing also is that you have full transparency of your implementation projects because we bring together in one view all the activities that everyone's doing during the project. We can see all of the status of all the tasks that have to be done. We give you the tasks in most cases that you should be implementing in what phase of the project, and then you can also create your own tasks. And the new thing that we've been doing is for some of the BTP services like cloud integration automation, we provide tasks just with the content for that. So we can show you when you put something in scope that requires cloud integration automation, it has a task assigned to it. And I'll show that in the demo. But this shows you the requirements that were created during the fit to standard workshops, what their status is, what testing's done. We will be providing automated testing through Tricentis in Cloud ALM. That's supposed to happen this quarter or shortly thereafter. So that will give you some automation for testing, even the cloud products. And we have full analytics as well, so you can drill down and see the trend analysis and see the historical analysis and the relationship between the processes, the requirements, user stories, deployment features, and so on. So everything is all visible in one place to all team members, to partners, to customers, to SAP. So it's really simple and doesn't require manual effort. So when we're doing this implementation of our cloud solutions, again, we're going to be starting out with scoping. We're going to see exactly what are we going to be implementing in this project, what products, what solutions. We're going to be bringing into the design phase where we run our fit to standard workshops and capture the requirements relating to exactly what, based off diagrams, based off configuration guides and blogs and workflows. And then we go into realization phase, and then we leverage all those configuration guides and assets and kick off those, in this case, cloud integration, automation workflows. So we have everything all in one place. We also can create notes in here. So a note is just a nice little piece of documentation that follows the process through the whole life cycle. So that's sort of like a little bit of documentation. And we do have questions. Can you upload physical documents like Word documents or PDFs? Again, we don't want to do that in Cloud ALM because we don't want the system to get too overloaded with storage. What we are creating, we're going to be solving that issue this year is what we're planned through an API to document management. So here you see how you document the workshop results in the process management area. So in this case, we have a success factors process we've brought in. We can then just right click on something and select that you need to create a new requirement, and then it has a nice little application for this that links it in. And here you can then assign it to work streams, assign it to team members, assign it to different phases, and work with your lines of business. So really, this is where it's very simple to manage these requirements in the tool, not using spreadsheets, not using any other format. It's visible to everybody. And then this is then visible in all of the reporting throughout the entire project. And these are the tasks that we provide from SAP Activate. So what happens is when you create a project, you're going to say what I'm going to be putting into scope, and then it's going to bring in a task template, and the task template will have a lot of pre-made tasks that you can then assign to team members, assign to the project phases. Again, we recommend which ones you do, but you can move them around. You can create your own tasks as well, and then they'll be moved to the top of the list as a user-created task and not an automatic task. But again, we also assign them to the proper roles automatically, and you can assign your users to the proper roles really easily in the project management. You just paste in their email address in this little role box, and then it sends them an invitation to Cloud ALM, and then they can log on and start working. And of course, we have other advanced features like mass changes and list view, and also Gantt chart view. So what I really wanted to do next is, oh, here we go. So again, for cloud integration automation, again, we bring in these business processes that are linked to cloud integration and automation. So we provide tasks in the content. So it's not an it's not an actual roadmap list of tasks. That's a standard task. It's something that comes in only if you need it. So when you bring in a process into your scope that has integration automation relationship or is part of that, it's going to have a task in the actual process content, and then you bring that into your system. I'll show that actually in the demo. So let's go into the system and have a look. So again, this is a demo system that we have. There's a copy of this that's available to the public, so it's open 24 hours a day. You can access this right from our Cloud ALM homepage. I'm just going to go right into the scoping part just to save some time. So here I actually have a project that I've created, and it's very easy to create a project. Again, you just give it a name, you give it some dates, you can put sprints in, you can put other information, and then you can go in and start doing scoping. So I'm just going to show you, like, I'm going to just go into edit mode on it real quick. So I've added some scenarios into scope like IRPA and best practice for S/4HANA Cloud, and also for public sector, mostly because these are the two that we see the Cloud Integration Automation Service from BTP visible in for the first time. So this is pretty new. This became available back around October timeframe in 2022. So this is going to be expanded on as we get new versions of the business content. But here you see, for example, some of the other solutions we provide, like Ariba, of course, SuccessFactors, on-premise, S4, S4 Cloud, everything you could think of. And then once you toggle in what you're going to be implementing, then it's going to be bringing that task list into your project. And then once we have it linked down, you can then also view things like assets here, and I can see configuration guides, best practice information, what's new information with the version, and the same thing for S/4HANA Cloud. So you can start looking at the reference materials for this scoping right away. And at this point, we have the scenarios in, then we need to do some process scoping. So we're just going to go look at the business processes that are part of those individual solutions. In this case, we have quite a bit. And just to make it a little bit easier, you can then go and you can filter it by the different area. So I wanted to look at something for IRPA, so I'm just going to go into this and click. So here you can actually view the information, and here's where you decide if you're going to be adding it to the scope of this project for this individual iteration of the implementation. So here I can see things like bank statement files. There's a IRPA function for this from BTP. So actually, IRPA has its own methodology roadmap with its own tasks, of course. But here we can also look at things like, I can scroll down here, I can see the solutions, I can see the scenario, I can see the region specific description. In this case, it's got a bot for the automated upload of bank statement files. And I can go right to the bot store from here. This is really nice. So this is new. We didn't have this until late last year and then you would sort of have to do all this navigation and viewing the reference information on your own separately. And we don't want that. We want you to do everything within the Cloud ALM. So I can go right into the SAP bot store and learn all about this bank statement files upload, what it does. I can see all the additional links, the lines of business, the version information, everything you need to know about it. And I'll just close him out. And we also have a test script here. So if you want to do some testing, we provide you with a test script automatically. And here we can also create requirements. So I'm going to do that from the next one. We have a nice BPM diagram. But from this area here again, this is a bot, so we don't have a whole process diagram. It's really just a value diagram here. But of course, we can create requirements, use a story, additional process tasks, or a note where we want to document something right from here. So I can go back to my solution process area here, and I can go back down to him, and I can take him off. Now I'm going to go look at something for S for Cloud, where I know we have a cloud integration automation reference. And I know that I've got a solution JB1. There we go. So this is again, SuccessFactors, Core HR with SuccessFactors Employee Central. So we actually have some nice little information here, of course, overview, process flow, assets. And we also have something new, and this is an integration. So this is tying in the Cloud Integration Automation Service from BTP right into the business process documentation. So here I can actually launch GIS right from here and actually look at the process or look at the service and run it. We also have a task here. So this is a task that is not in the standard task list, but it's something that if I put it in my scope up here, it's going to put this task in the proper place in the actual project task list. So this is also pretty new. This is also like end of 2022 that we got this. But I like the setup instructions because it has nice links directly. Just like we did for IRPA, we can go right to here. We've got all of the setup information links, the documents. I've also got a test script, and I can also choose what region. I'm in the US. So drops it right in here, and I can just open it up. So again, it's like one-stop shop. There's no navigating to external pages. We're trying to bring everything in here. And again, this is going to be expanding out to other best practices going forward. And of course, I can go to process flow here. Let me just close something. So I have just again, this is S for Cloud showing SuccessFactors, Employee Central. And I can do things like if I select here I can then create a requirement. Oop. Don't know why it's doing that. Let's do it from here. Right, so he could say, okay. And then I can scroll down and I can cross-reference it to tasks and test cases and other requirements, but I can also assign it to a work stream here. So maybe it's, let's do integration maybe, and then I can do some approvals. I can do priority, make it high. I can do a time box. When does it have to take place? I can assign it to team members. This guy's it's PMO. And again, it's manually created because this is, again, visible to everybody. So I'm just going to save it. And now we have it tied in. And now it's something that can be used to determine the implementation. And also, if you wish, you can also copy this diagram into our authoring area and make modifications. It's also possible. But this is what we do. I mean, we're taking this content, we're taking the tasks together, and we're using these to execute during our fit to standard workshops, and then decide exactly what we're going to be implementing, what the effort is. And then the first thing that we're doing here is tying in all of these key implementation and technical entities coming in from BTP. So this is brand new. We will be seeing this more. Where we're seeing this currently is in the S/4HANA Cloud and S/4HANA Public Sector best practices. I've been told that that is going to be extending to additional ones going forward with additional versions. And now we also do cover deployment of changes from Cloud ALM. I wasn't going to get too deep into this because we have a separate session, which I'll cover in the next slide. But again, the Cloud ALM is connected to the on-premise change and transport system and also the cloud transport management system. So we can control the release of changes on-premise and cloud. We are doing this again with BTP, things like MTAR archives, but we are also planning to do this also for SuccessFactors, Fieldglass, and Ariba through Cloud TMS. Cloud TMS is being extended to cover those, and then Cloud ALM talks to the cloud transport management system. So as soon as that's available, we'll be able to control those changes. And we're also planning on controlling it through the Adaptation Transport Organizer for S4 Public Cloud and IBP. This is planned for Q3 2023. So really, it's like the Cloud ALM can bundle changes into what we call features, and then we can deploy them through the landscape through a feature control system. But again, I don't want to get too detailed on this because we have a whole keep control with change management for BTP and ABAP-based applications by Moritz and Harold, and that's another video that's available from the same event. But in short, pretty much we have a CI/CD service in BTP that you can use for doing your pipelines and changes. Again, this is controlled to be released through the cloud environment, to cloud transport management, to the various accounts, and on-premise to the change and transport system, to the on-premise systems. But these are controlled by the Cloud ALM, both of them. So you can actually synchronize the changes and release them together or separately. And we can also work with unequal landscapes. So it's quite sophisticated. We do have the question, do we have a change management system like an approval process, like in Solution Manager? Not yet. This is being worked on with some kind of workflow integration. So as soon as that's available, we'll let everyone know. So that'll be added to the Cloud ALM and provide a sort of a approval process. But again, check out the session specifically on this by Moritz and Harold. And again, I've also been told that I can speak about this planned application for managing extensions. So again, how this would work is that we would have a full requirements to deploy process for extensions and link this into the BTP Discovery Center mission. So Discovery Center gives you all the information how to implement these services from BTP. And this would tie that together so you wouldn't have to go outside of the tool to look at the Discovery Center. It'd be brought in. The task for setting up the service would be coming in from the Discovery Center, become tasks in the task list. And again, this would sort of integrate everything very carefully and in an organized way for requirements to deploy. So pretty much this is planned. We don't have an ETA for this. This is like the first time we've actually talked about this, but this is something that's being worked on right now. And again, I'll show you in the product roadmap where you can check to see when things are available today and what's planned near term and longer term. So let's go into the operations side. So operations is very sophisticated. In Cloud ALM, we're covering a lot of on-premise and cloud. We're doing lots of different pulling in of metrics and configuration information, log entries and events and alerts from on-premise and cloud environments. And then we're doing our monitoring of business processes, integrations, users, jobs, and health monitoring, taking this into event processing and then sending out alerts and notifications, viewing it in analytics and operation automation. And then from then we can then set out notifications like emails, open up a service desk ticket, an external service desk ticket provider like ServiceNow, or trigger operations flows to actually do some sort of resolution in an automated way. And at the top level, we're managing business services where you can take several technical services and bundle them into something that's more business friendly and easy for your business users to understand. And then from there, we manage service levels and integrate with the event calendar by the customer and also by the cloud provider. So like if SAP has a maintenance window, you see that in the Cloud ALM. And I'll show you that in just a moment. So for the first thing I'll cover is integration exception monitoring. Again, we want to be able to make sure the data exchange between the services and systems is up and running. This was a big request many years ago, but when we were developing Cloud ALM, because a lot of this was set up by partners or consultants and to the customer. This is something that they have to maintain. SAP can't manage these things. They have to be managed by the customer. We make sure the applications are working, but whether or not the business integrations is working with other products, that's something the customer still has to do. And we want to make that really easy to set up and take care of housekeeping and also monitoring and performance. So really, we're looking at the on-premise side as well as the cloud side and providing the whole end-to-end view of these applications and integrations in one place so you can head off any issues. So what I want to do, because this demo system has a lot of users, it has a very short timeout. So let me, excuse me while I start a whole bunch of windows, because otherwise they would automatically time out on me. I just want to give you a taste of a bunch of screens and not just show lots of slides in this area. All right. Just a moment. Yeah, so the idea about here is that when you define these systems and services in SAP Cloud ALM, and depending on what type of product it is, some of them automatically do. If it's under the same customer number as the Cloud ALM, a lot of these services will just become visible. Otherwise, there's a very basic level of setup you have to do, and it depends on the product. And well, I'll show you how you determine that. But pretty much at this point, when you have the monitoring just turned on, these are the sort of metrics you get. So this is BTP Neo looking at its exceptions. So these are all the exceptions on this BTP Neo. We have a whole bunch of ones with processes running. We can see the evolution in the last 24 hours and 7 days and 30 days. And then I can see exactly, I can drill into these and see what's going on. And then it gives me all sorts of different, these are all log information. It gives me the tenant and the root URL and the severity, other information that you need. So this is, again, used for troubleshooting and also getting raised an alert. And then if I'm going to go into another thing for integration suite, I can see all the messages by artifact name, by package ID, by sender. And here we can see all these messages that were completed properly. And if we see one that fails, we can see instantaneously the status text. This is success factors employees. So we have a problem in there. So we can actually go drill down into this and see let's close it all down. So I can see the artifact name, all the technical information, and I can see if it's related to anything else. So I can see that we've got an integration flow issue here that we need to do troubleshooting on. So again, this is just checking to make sure those connections are working properly. And the same thing, this is an IRPA one, so I can see exceptions by status group. And we have some notifier fail messages here in IRPA. We can then drill into this just like we did with the other ones and see exactly what's happening. And again, this can be used to trigger an alert. It can trigger notifications and other activities. And so this is sort of the overview of seeing the entire integration exception monitoring. Here I can see order management, I can see Ariba network, and I can see master data integration and cloud integration suite. So here I can also just drill into it as well. So I can see then flow. So we got some major issues here that we really need to see what's going on. And I can drill directly into the errors and do troubleshooting. Yeah, we got a bunch of things to investigate here. So again, just a little taste of the various solutions that we're providing on the operations side. Just let me skip ahead just a bit. And the next one is really user performance monitoring. So we're seeing exactly what the performance is from the user perspective. So we just want to make sure that they are getting the best experience, the best performance. They're not seeing any error messages. And if we do have an error message, we can actually see exactly where the problem is. Is it on the front end of the user? Is it in the middle? Is it in the back end? So again, we're doing this through SAP Passport that we're able to track all of this. That's what these little icons are saying. But again, it follows it all through the different services and systems so that you can then troubleshoot very easily. So let me just go to my real user monitoring. So here I've got, under real user monitoring, I've got a BTP Neo. And I can then go and see that I've got some RFC issues, but I'll just go into some requests here and show you what you get. So this actually tells me the request type, and then how many times was it slow out of the total executions, and then I can then drill into that and go deeper and deeper. See, I can also see by time. So actually, if the users were experiencing poor performance at a certain time, you could then see what else was happening at that time frame. I can then also go into the analysis of the area. Hold on a second. I can also see the front end here. So this is actually where I'm seeing by the time exactly what was happening, what the operating systems and web browsers were. So you can also see if any issues or performance degradation was due to something on the front end of each user based on their operating system or browser combination. And then I can also go down to, the client. This also shows me on the client side, operating system and browser. So again, this is really a nice troubleshooting. You don't raise really alerts from here. It's like if you see that there's poor performance, then you can drill into it and use it for troubleshooting. So it gives you that whole visibility so that a lot of times you can detect things. If one user is having an issue, you can fix things before the other users come in and have the same problem. So we're also monitoring jobs and automation from Cloud ALM. We're looking at all the different services and looking for log error messages and predecessor, successor jobs not starting, all the things that you really need for just to make sure that everything's operating properly. And just like, and I'll just go into the job management here. Just let me do a reload. So again, you can also see this in the public demo system as well. It's just a copy of the one I'm using. Yeah, so here we actually have a whole bunch of different systems. I have IRPA and BTP here, of course, under ABAP. So I can actually go in here and say technical exceptions for this one. Let's have a look at this guy. So this is an email bot marketing promotion that has bad execution status. What's going on with that? So then here again, we can also raise an alert from this. And I can see that we had a failed job, and then I can drill deeper, of course, just like with the others, and see exactly all the details of what happened. Oh, except this is a demo system, so it's really just there for show. And then the health monitoring is really just looking at the health of all the applications, things like checking that the certificates are valid, because that's really important. If they're run out of validity, then a lot of times the application fails completely. So this is bringing a whole bunch of health stats and metrics for cloud services and systems into one place. So I'll just actually pop into the health monitoring and reload you guys. Just a moment. So we're also monitoring Cloud ALM by itself, but I can see right now if I want to look at integration suite for cloud integration, again, it's another BTP. I can see that we've got health at 57%. That's not good. And here we can actually drill into it. So we've got certificate errors. We can see JMS queues, but really I'm looking at felons. Yeah, so this is certificates we have to then investigate really carefully and make sure that's working. Same thing for CPI. So here I can actually see I've got a warning on my JMS queue status, and here I can actually see exactly what's going on. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to do, which I didn't have a slide for, is really talk about business service management. So again, in the landscape management, you can bundle various services together that are related to each other as a business focus, and something that your business users can really understand easily than a lot of technical names. You can give it a nice, easy to understand name, and then you can see exactly how well the whole service is running. So in this case, I've got these services. Again, green energy is one of these, recruit to retire, BTP development. And also this is nice because a lot of times people are doing development queues in BTP and like BTP Neo or ABAP. And we want to make sure that those are available to everybody. So we can then, this is really checking all of the service level. So I've got my Cloud Foundry and Neo environments here. I can see if there's any alerts, but here's the nice thing. I want to do service level reporting. So I can see exactly, you see how much I'm going to post what percentage of uptime that you want to have for these various services. And then it's going to tell you whether or not you met those service levels. So in this case, BTP development was 99.93. Again, you can also change it to different durations if you'd like. But in this case, I'm 99.93. So why are we 99.93? What happened? You can actually click on it. Right, and I can see exactly what month was it. Here's the objective was 99. But then we can see we had some events in here. So we had some maintenance that was scheduled by the customer. And then we also had some disruptions. And again, if the disruptions caused by the service provider, we actually can see that reflected in the service level management. We can also see if there's any scheduled maintenance windows from like SAP or from the customer and reflect that in the service level management. And so here we see all the services that make up this nice little BTP development service we've created. So we bundled all these technical names into something that's easy to understand, and then you can do service level management and make sure that you're providing the best availability to your customers. So again, how do you know what BTP services are supported by Cloud ALM at any one time? And again, I always tell people don't rely on PowerPoint slides for this information. This is really not the recommended thing because, again, they get stale in a month. If we're doing cloud development, things are very quickly changing and improving. So we have a supported solution page. I'll show it in a moment. And we also have a question which people were asking about for cloud transport management, what artifacts and what products are supported by that. So there's a separate actual link in here for Cloud TMS. But I'll just go to the supported solutions page here. So if you go to the Cloud ALM homepage, this is again just support.sap.com. You just do Cloud ALM. We have a video with all the customer stories and what solutions we are providing. And then we have the supported solutions page, which you can just select. And this gives you like a matrix pretty much where you can say what solutions are covered by which area and which capability. So you can filter on this. But here we have all the different BTP services. So again, they're not flagged as BTP individually. Some of them are like BTP, ABAP, Foundry, and Neo. But again, some of them are you just have to know. So we're looking to see if we can sort of make it a little bit easier to filter by all of them, but usually people are just going in by the name. You can also do a search by free text, but I can do integration suite. I can do, let's see, mobile services is another one. If you look at that big BTP in the Discovery Center and the service catalog, you can see how they map to these. So I'll just pick a couple. So again, here I can see operations, what we're doing, and then it links you out to integration, health monitoring. If there's implementation content, we bring that out as well. But again, if it's something like how do you set it up, like BTP ABAP, you just click this link and it takes you right to the expert portal in the Cloud ALM. So it gives you into the details about this. So we see everything here, and then I can choose the supported products, and then it gives you exactly what messages and what data is covered. And it has all, how do you connect it? And how do you do the setup? And also if you need to open up an incident, it gives you the different components you should do. And we do this for all the different products. So that's your one-stop shop. You go to the Cloud ALM homepage, supported solutions, and then you can see very quickly how to get this going. So again, just one slide I just put together based on the supported solutions page. They are planning to have some content integration exception monitoring for Analytics Cloud and Cloud Foundry for custom services and data intelligence, Analytics Cloud and Cloud Foundry custom for user and performance, job scheduling service for custom jobs and workflow and job and automation, and connectivity service and data intelligence under health monitoring. But again, use the product roadmap to see exactly what's coming out. And that is where we publish everything in a very updated way. So this is, let me just refresh this guy. So this is where pretty much, this is also linked out to the Cloud ALM homepage. This is where we publish what's available today. So here we can see Q4 2022. Anything in blue is out already. Anything in orange is coming soon, and anything that's purple is longer term. But here we can actually see in this for this Q1 2023, what's available. So we're putting out new content or new and feature enhancements every day and activating them about every 2 weeks. So they just appear on the system. You get a notification that something's changed and you have some improvements, and we give you the information on that in the system. But this tells you exactly from the implementation and operations side what's available. So always rely on this and not a PowerPoint for determining what's coming. And again, this is just what we're planning. Don't use this as the basis of any purchasing decisions or any sort of strategic decisions. We try to be as accurate as we can, but things change, of course, it's software. And of course, there's session feedback. I'm not sure we're using that. And also our Vice President for ALM, Tim Steuer, always says, just do it, get Cloud ALM today. And I always tell customers this. I mean, we have some customers that are like, well, we didn't want to set it up because, you know, we don't want to pay for it or anything. But again, you don't pay for SAP Cloud ALM. It's part of your cloud subscription and bundled under enterprise support. So, and it updates itself. It's not an application that you need to apply patches or nodes to maintain it. We always just push them out. The latest content's always available when you need it, from best practice content and activate methodology tasks. So really, there's no downside in just going to the Cloud ALM homepage today and just getting it. I mean, that's the whole idea. You can just get it right from the Cloud ALM page, the very top where it says requests, and this request tenant takes you to SAP for Me. And you just request it, and you'll get an email invitation to it within, usually at the most, a couple hours. And then there's just some very basic setup, and you can start using it. All right. So also, there's a nice book on Cloud ALM for implementation available from SAP Press. I do recommend getting that. It's really good, and that was just released. And again, we have some other links in here. And also links to the implementation portal and the expert portal for operations. Okay, so that concludes all of my prepared content for today.